Okay, here we go. This one's going to be a very interesting one. Fighting the Oligarchy. Fighting the Oligarchy tour. Running in, okay, here's the thing. The Fighting the Oligarchy tour is nothing more than a trick. It's an illusion. It's a joke. It's made to trick people into believing that somehow the Democrats or Bernie Sanders are going to lead this revolution. Third time's a charm. We fell for this before. Don't be a sucker. And a lot of people on the left need to leave Bernie because he's still a Democrat Party loyalist. Same thing for AOC. I get it. Everyone's triggered by Trump. Everyone's upset by Trump. I understand it. But this is the same Bernie Sanders that gave up his political movement not once or twice. And I pulled up, especially during that Saturday evening live stream, Brianna Joy Gray's tweet of, oh, this might sound sinister, but, don't be surprised if they say to support these oligarchs and the Democrats in 2028. You could build this little organization, but then, I guess because of DNC and its screwed up rules, we just got to comply and follow the orders. I've seen this before. It's a Hallmark card. It's a Coca-Cola classic. So shout out to Case Study QB, who's wrongly being censored. Let's go and play this video, folks. Brace yourself.
All right, so that was a host of different politicians, Congressman Greg Kazar, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Bernie Sanders, all answering the call from frustrated and angry constituents across the country. That specific one was in Arizona. Thousands of people showed up to their Fighting Oligarchy tour. According to Sanders, more than 30,000 attendees came out to a single rally in Denver just yesterday. So this Fighting Oligarchy tour, Francesca, seems to be resonating with people. The messaging is simple. Fighting oligarchy, as Bernie Sanders there, fighting Trumpism, create a country that we all want, that we can be proud of. A CNN survey found specifically that Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez narrowly leads a poll in terms of reflecting the values of this.
Oh, AOC, those are not good numbers.
Oof. 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 Oof.
Not good at all. I mean, not good.
This Democratic Party.
AOC has consistently been one of the most popular politicians that we have had in this country. And again, the Democrats refuse to.
Francesca, Mamba. No, you're wrong. No one likes her. She flip-flops on all the issues. When we asked her for forced to vote, she said that this is violence. This is the same AOC who got fake arrested. Fake AOC who also put on that Met Gala dress. Yeah, you tax the rich. Hey, did AOC ever return back her Tesla? Hey, did AOC ever stand with anyone for March for Medicare for All? Has AOC ever really given a true comment about, the crisis in Gaza, save for the fact when she was confronted at the movie theaters, right? Hey, did AOC say anything about the Palestinian protesters and groups, especially the Palestinian group that was going to endorse Joe Biden at the United Center at Chicago for the DNC convention? Yeah, real popular. 10 out of 10. Epic statement, Francesca. Epic statement. Keep hitting those home runs.
Promote her, to vote for her, and when it comes to being the head of oversight, and on and on and on. And it is part and parcel of the fact that Democrats are ossified and they're neutered by their corporate donors. Let's be honest, okay? There's a big difference. When you're taking lobbyist money, when you're Ruben Gallego, I'm sorry to say, you go out seeking that crypto bag, right? You think you need to play the same game. People sniff that all over you. And guess what? You don't fight for folks, just like the 10 senators who didn't, who voted for this budget bill. Here's what I'll say about the AOC and the Bernie tour. I think it's great. This is what.
Of course you think it's great, because guess what? You get the clicks and views because, oh, yes, the affirmations and everything's going to be fine. And Bernie's telling us we could fight back. It's so good to see all the protesters doing their Ho Fest protests in their glorified pink pussy hats, doing their glorified parades in front of Trump Tower. Isn't that just wonderful? Oh, everybody feels good. I wonder when Tour for the Poor comes to Chicago. I can't wait for that. That's going to be lovely.
What an opposition party, which is what the Democrats are, should be doing. That being said, Bernie Sanders is also asking for people to run as independents. And I think that makes all the sense in the world. He is where he is at today with.
He didn't say it to Hassan Piker. What you talk about, Francesca? Don't make me pull up the video. Say that again.
People sniff that all over you. And guess what? You don't fight for folks, just like the 10 senators who didn't, who voted for this budget bill. Here's what I'll say about the AOC and the Bernie tour. I think it's great. This is what an opposition party, which is what the Democrats are, should be doing. That being said, Bernie Sanders is also asking for people to run as independents. And I think that makes all the sense in the world. He is where he is at today with some of the political opinions that have long been unpopular.
Francesca, I don't like people who lie. Lying liars are not cool in my book. And I have a book.
You've talked recently with the New York Times about what the future of the Democratic Party looks like and what maybe young enterprising individuals must do. And I believe I'm paraphrasing here. You said something along the lines of like running as an independent rather than utilizing the party.
For me, that's not a very radical concept because I am the longest serving independent in American congressional history, and I've always run as an independent. Look, I think the Democrats over the years deserve credit for the work they've done on women's rights, on gay rights, on civil rights in general, fighting bigotry. They deserve credit, and they've made progress. But I don't think anybody with a straight face can tell you that they've stood up for the working class of this country. And I think that's why so many working class people have drifted into the Republican Party, not because they believe in tax breaks for billionaires or they don't believe that climate change is real. It's they look at the Democrats and there's not much there. So what my view is people should think about running as they want. Progressive independents should run as progressive Democrats. But don't necessarily feel that you have to run within the Democratic Party. And I think as you may recall, in Nebraska, a fellow named Dan Osborne ran a really, really powerful campaign as an independent, running as a very proud trade unionist, running on economic issues, and he did extremely well, much better than anyone had anticipated. So that was my point, and I think it makes sense.
Do you feel like there's any sort of momentum to break through the duopoly in this structure as someone who has run as an independent?
It is. It's a long discussion. If you're asking me, do I think we could start a third party tomorrow? I don't, for a lot of reasons, having to do with restrictions in various states making it almost impossible. But I think what you're seeing is massive discontent with both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. More and more people are looking for, I think, independent alternatives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but he has to go. So he was like, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta leave you, Jank nephew." He wasn't here. If you heard through all of that, he's still sheep herding people in the Democrat Party. He's saying no, we can't do third parties, and there's a reason why third parties are in the quandary that they're in. It's because there are state and federal laws and legislation that prevent third parties from being on the ballot, being on the debate stage. Hard Lens Media has 8 years of covering and interviewing libertarians, Greens, socialists, independents who are not running as Democrats or Republicans, and they have to go through a nightmare of things to deal with. And unfortunately, no, Bernie's not going to tell people to run independent because he's going to tell people to vote Democrat. John Michael tipped $5. If AOC is still in the House, she'll be the next Pelosi by 2028. Not wrong there, buddy. Not wrong there. Let's continue to play the rest of this. Oh, boy.
By the mainstream that he has helped to popularize, in part because he ran as an outsider. We all know that Republicans love Trump in part because he was an outsider. Talked about draining the swamp, even though he is now literally swamp has become him. Like, he is swamp man. And so this is important to know. It attracts independents, people of all stripes. People have given up on the two-party duopoly, and that is what we need to not be afraid of. And the problem with Democrats, like Hillary Clinton trying to chide Bernie Sanders, he's only been a Democrat for like a month. Stop with the partisan hackery and start with what are you fighting for? Who are you fighting for? And can you win?
She brings up such an important point, Francesca. Let me play for you, because it's not just Republicans who are getting the heat in their town halls. Democrats are getting it as well. Take a look at these two clips we'll play for you, and we'll get your reactions to it.
The message you should clearly take to your colleagues from your constituents is this. We are not interested in hearing that you are in the minority. We know that. We want you to show some of the backbone and strategic brilliance that Mitch McConnell would have in the minority.
Right.
We want you to show fight, and you are not fighting.
We're trying to shield ourselves before we're wounded and we don't know how. Would you mind telling your colleagues in Washington that when they're burning down this house, there's people still inside? My kid is inside.
Two of the most powerful statements I think I've seen this week. Two ordinary citizens in America, clear as day as to what they want. And it seems like Democrats sometimes, they're just not even hearing these messages.
People aren't dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, people have watched the way in which Republicans consistently have played a weak hand and turned it into now total government dominance.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is, if Republicans can do that, why can't you figure out a way to do that as Democrats? And I think that one of the issues is that Democrats see itself as the de facto conservative party, right? Things don't really need to change. We just need to change things around the edges and everything will be fine. Well, if you essentially have institutionalists that are running the party, when the house is burning down, institutionalists are like, but we need to save the house instead of we need to run out and regroup. And I think that that's the problem. And that's why the people who are not institutionalists are thriving in this moment.
What do you make of that when you hear these constituents? And I'm sure you're going to tell us about how you hear it as well on your radio show. But when you hear
I have a radio show. Okay, we all get a
Oh, damn. Oh, embarrassing you right there. Everybody, this is like one glorified circle jerk. But you want to know why the Democrats, this resistance, why AOC and Bernie and their little fight isn't going to go anywhere? Because it's always going to lead right back to corporatist sellouts. I mean, case in point, this prime example right here.
You get 1,000 people out there in a district, you could take it over. Take it over. And that is what is going to build the Democratic Party. I always am perplexed when people say, you know, we're really upset at the Democratic Party. What are you going to do? And they're Democrats. I said, you are the Democratic Party. You are any Democrat registered as part of the Democratic Party. And I said this, if Donald Trump could take over the Republican Party, sure, we could take over the Democratic Party to make it what we want to be. So thank you for your activism, and I endorse your call.
Oh, no. Benefits over billionaires. But what no one wants to talk about is how this guy, row your boat, Ro Khanna, also is on Unusual Whale's list of politicians that did shockingly, surprisingly well in 2022, 2023, 2024, and I guess even so now in 2025. I mean, their stock portfolios are just bursting open with all that good jazz, right? So this tour for the poor, it's just to sucker in people, make them feel good, to make them feel like they can make a change. If there's going to be change, the whole party needs to change. The institution, the infrastructure. So that means, hey, AOC, do you want a primary Chucky Boy Schumer? Make it happen. Hey, Bernie, what will be the message in 2026? What will be the overall fight? What is the overall goal? What is the overall challenge? What are we doing here, folks? What's happening here, people? Live and direct, you need to tell me what's happening here. Because what I'm seeing here is the same thing play out from 2016 and in 2020. And in turn, yes, let's bring up the 2022 midterm election cycle, because all this stuff, all this talk about was helping out Democrats. A blue wave is coming. Let's make this happen. But Democrats, as soon as you get power in one of the chambers or both chambers, like how the Democrats had it in 2008 when Obama got elected, they had a supermajority in the House and Senate. Jesus. Goodness gracious, Cretaceous. They did nothing with it. They did absolutely freaking nothing with it. And I'm supposed to sit here and believe that somehow the Democrats have our best interests at heart. I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't believe it for 1 minute. And AOC and Bernie are going to tell people, oh, we're going to fight back against the oligarchy. Well, gee, the new DNC chair is more than happy to embrace good billionaires. So are you going to challenge the DNC chair? Are you going to challenge Chucky Boy? Are you going to challenge Nancy? Are you going to challenge Hakeem Jeffries? Are you going to challenge all the corporate donors? Because in order for there to be change, the Democratic Party and progressives in the Democratic Party need to fight the establishment leadership. In 2018, 2019, when we interviewed activists who were running as Democrats, when we interviewed people that were running as progressives, that were trying to get, something to happen, at least, following the call of Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, our revolution, all the stories were the same. The DNC was doing whatever they could to suppress those campaigns, to smear those candidates, to make sure that they couldn't get on the primary, to make sure they didn't have a chance. And all those candidates told us the same story, that they kept on dealing with the Democrats and what they were trying to do to silence and suppress them. I remember that. We covered that. But we need a Democratic Party that's going to fight harder for us, right? Right, AOC? That's what we need right now. That's a party we need, right? Here we go.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today.
Absolutely. Right. Fart harder for us, right? Cool Blue 71. I'm going to give you the final word for this one. It's a super chat. Thank you so much for this. We appreciate the generosity. This is the post-election 2024 Democrats trying to get people interested in them again. Nothing in the way of vision and an agenda and policies. It's all about branding. And the branding of the Democratic Party is nothing but failure.